what I loved about this movie is we were characters in a game, but we were very much, it was such a metaphor for life. How we have one game that we're living in, and we're doing one job, and then you go off on this hero's journey, and when you come back, you're doing the same job, but you're changed. Mm-hmm. You're different for having gone on the journey.
She was going to be kind of more of a drill sergeant, more of this kind of metaphysicist, mm-hmm. And there's still some of that in there with the platitudes but then the really kind of, the huge break was when the backstory came into play, that she became this kind of wounded, vulnerable, person that this whole, heroic kind of tough.
Let down her guard once and it will never happen again.
We look at it in storyboards. We have some of the actors in recording certain scenes. Other times we have just some scratch voices in there to see what's working and what's not working. And we actually then meet with the directors at Disney, and we go up to Pixar and we meet with those directors. And it's about kind of deconstructing the film and finding out what's working and what's not working. And that's when ideas like, how do we ground Calhoun come in? Because you sit there and say, well, what if she did have this tragic backstory? Then we immediately get all of this information as to who this character is. So
and working with, and that's why it was great working with Jane and John and Sarah and Jack, because they had the patience to kind of let this process work. Mm-hmm. That they kind of came in on faith that, okay, we're going to get there. We're going to have to kind of feel around a little bit in the beginning, but then when the big pieces started to land, it was like, okay, this is. This feels good.
I remember after the first session, I said to Rich, is this along the lines of what you want? And he was like, yeah, that's it. Because I kind of went in and did what I do. And he said, yeah, basically that's why you're here, is to do it that way. And they videotaped us. And every time I went to a session, and there would be 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 or 5 months in between sessions. And the character will have evolved, and I'm noticing that she kind of is starting to look like me. I mean, they obviously used my body as an inspiration. And I started to see with Fix-It Felix how he was moving his mouth slightly like Jack McBrayer. And, these guys are just geniuses, the guys and gals who do the animation. And so for me, it was basically coming in every couple of months, the script, or maybe even reading the same scene that I read 2 months ago, but it's slight changes, and the story started to deepen.
And because we do it over the course of several years, we're always picking parts of the movie that are working. Mm-hmm. And we focus on those areas, and we put all our energy to get that into production while we give the creative team more time to think artistically about how is this next world, Hero's Duty, going to evolve, and what's the storyline going to be for this character, or how does this scene become better? So we get this great opportunity to kind of go in at pieces and moments of the time to develop that part of it while the other side is still kind of in the cooking stage, if you will.
We had a designer, her name's Lorelei Beauvais, who's from Spain, who was very instrumental in the designing of Sugar Rush, because we knew early on that it was going to be this candy world, and we wanted to develop something new, not just a cliched kind of Candyland world or Hansel and Gretel's witch's house kind of thing, gingerbread house that you've seen before. And Lorelei early on mentioned that when she was a little girl in Barcelona, that she would look at the architecture of Gaudi, like at Park Güell and all those, and Sagrada Familia, the cathedral in Barcelona, that those buildings always reminded her of like candy houses and like these kind of gingerbread homes and things. And that became kind of the spark, that was the foundation for Sugar Rush.
I made my living in voiceover for many years, mm-hmm. and I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And being in an animated movie before you're a celebrity is kind of the brass ring. And so I got to grab that brass ring. I was thrilled. It was actually an ambition of mine. To be in a Disney movie, I never, that was so preposterous, it wasn't even on my bucket list.